It's a very mild October the 19th here in the former Nottinghamshire mining town of Market Warsop. An urban location, so moth numbers are going to be small at this time of year. But because of the very mild conditions and the favourable southerly winds, there is always the chance of something exciting and exotic. But to be honest, I'm not expecting much tonight, so we'll see what turns up. Quiet start, predictably. I've had 4 light brown apple moths come to the light. That's Epiphyus postritana, a species of Australian origin originally, but became established in the UK many years ago, and is certainly the commonest micro that I get in this garden here. It's one that's found throughout the UK now, probably well into Scotland, I believe. So if you're new to micros, it's going to be one of the first moths that you learn, but beware, it is extremely variable. I've had another micro as well, it's in here and it's a Perornic species. I need to look at it better tomorrow morning in the cold light of what's presumably, by all accounts, it's going to be a windy day. But I have missed an interesting looking long-winged micro, might have been a Caloptilia species, but it seems to have gone now. And the only other moth I've seen is an angleshade, and that was a female, which was egg laying on pretty much every single plant in the garden, as angleshades tend to do. It's a caterpillar that you can find pretty much throughout the year. You'll often find these bright green caterpillars of angleshades on many a pot plant if you have them outside. But it's promising. It's a promising night. Be nice if something drops in unexpected. Well, it's 8:30 and still very quiet. Nothing really coming in apart from moths, sort of local or very local to the garden. And I have had a couple of new species. Amblyptilia acanthodactyla. Now, there's a name to conjure up something, but it's one of the plume moths, often called the beautiful plume. And it is a very attractive moth. It may well be quite familiar to many people in gardens, but one of those came in briefly, and the other moth to come in was a micro Lineacia clerkella, and it's the darker form of Lineacia clerkella which is coming. Other than that, just another couple or so of light brown apple moths have been in, and it remains very quiet. But it remains incredibly quiet. Quieter than I expected, really, to be honest. I thought there would be a few more local moths, but I have just seen a moth, a largest noctuid, may well have been something like a large yellow underwing. It was quite high up and then went off over the house. I had no intentions of coming down to my little light. But it's not raining. We seem to have lost the stars, so the cloud has come over. I'm not sure as to actual timing of the rain that we're going to get here in Nottinghamshire overnight, but I think it will probably be before midnight. Certainly in the early hours it's expected, and the wind to increase too. But rain, or moth trapping in rain, can sometimes be absolutely marvellous, especially if it's in the peak of the year, sort of June and July. I've had some brilliant nights here in quite torrential rain when moths have been pouring into the light as much as the rain's been pouring down. And in them cases, I used to use a large fishing umbrella to put over the light. No need for that tonight. But rain sometimes brings the moths with it or ahead of it in terms of migrants. But hopefully there will be few local moths flying around and may well be attracted to this light in the next hour or so. It's just a case of waiting. Well, 21:50, so that's 3 hours here so far. I have been going inside and then coming out and just checking, and the most recent moth to come in is a pale mottled willow, which I don't think is a species that I've showed you before, so I put a photo in. Quite an attractive moth, generally greyish with a few darker, almost black markings. The only other thing is a large yellow underwing, which appeared briefly at the light and has promptly done a runner, might have tucked itself in somewhere, but the first spots of rain are coming down, so we may well not be running the light for much longer. But a quiet night so far. Still just a very light breeze. It's still 15 degrees centigrade, so you can't complain at that in this late on in October. But we'll see how the rain goes, and I'll keep running the trap until it becomes too persistent.